when I drank champagne with God one evening. Again, I spent the entire day thinking way too much, whilst diffuse hopes, uncertainty and weariness were buzzing around me like a horde of depressed flies. So I entered my living room appropriately discontented. There I saw God, sitting relaxed in the subdued light right in front of the fireplace, his feet laid down on the stool. A Davidoff cigar in his mouth, a bottle of champagne and 2 empty glasses in front of him on the table. I couldn't believe my eyes, but, my God, in fact, it was him. How can I be so sure about that? No idea. Probably because the question never rose up, and so there weren't any doubts. God asked me kindly to take a seat. I didn't hesitate. "I thought a lot about you today," I said cautiously after a while. He smirked and said, "I know." "And now?" I asked. "We celebrate," said God, and lifted his glass right away. "But what?" I asked almost soundlessly. What should I celebrate? That I slowly make my peace with all the wars that lay in the past and surely in the future? I guess my deep sadness results from the knowledge that there won't be an escape of the war, so I wasn't really in the mood to celebrate. And God, however, was quite unimpressed by what I've said. "We are celebrating, as you made a big step towards heaven today," he replied. Then he laughed and took a deep puff from his fine cigar. "I rather get the impression that I walked in the wrong direction for miles today," I countered silently. "Do you really think you could move in the wrong direction when you walk in a circle?" God asked and chuckled. No kidding, he really chuckled. Somehow this dissolved the need to discuss about that, and this felt good. Like absolution, amnesty. There was this lovely scent of grace attached to everything he said and didn't say. "Relax, son," he said. And then he filled up one glass after another, and we drank 2 bottles of this precious droplet, and we were smirking and telling stories the whole night, and we laughed so heavily at times that God needed to hold his sides. I laughed as well, and felt tears on my cheeks over and over. Most of them because of laughing, but also some others, due to affection, grief, or relief. All in all, it felt like the tears of someone who is sentenced to live a lifelong life. In the early morning, we separated again. I went upstairs to pick up a pullover for God, for it was getting cold outside and I didn't want him to freeze on his way home. He pulled it on, hugged me, and went out. Oh yes, and then I almost fell down the stairs. I think it was less the alcohol and more the blessing of the moment that went to my head, although I can't be sure on that. And after God had left and I had sorted myself a bit, I went to the upper window to look after him for a while. But although it was a starry night, it wasn't working. I didn't understand. Everything I could dimly recognize was his unlit, playfully dancing, eventually all at once and completely in the darkness disappearing silhouette. I looked up on the sky to watch the stars. Hard to believe, but God switched them all off, and I realized that it's true. We can only see him when he wants it. But his love, his wonderful, relieving love, I was still able to hear this for a very long time. Why haven't I asked him to stay? Why do I never ask him to stay? It wasn't the first time that we met. Strange. But this love, my God, this infectious love, somehow it still echoes in me, as it wasn't really coming from the outside, but act from the inside, out of a thoughtless land in me which appears like home, a home that I visit all too rarely, despite my terrible chronic homesickness.